All right, so Tennessee took down NC State. Tennessee took down UTC back to Neyland Stadium this Saturday, 2-0 record. And you were about to open the doors to, statistically, if you are a FPI follower over at ESPN.com, the worst FBS football program in America, ranking at number 134 out of 134 teams. Kent State with an 0-2 record, coming off a loss to FCS St. Francis at home last week, is coming to Neyland Stadium. I never like to devalue your opponent before you play them, but this is going to get so ugly. But it's an opportunity for a lot of these young guys, Austin Price, to get in, get theirs, and have a field day.
Yeah, on the record, several days. I think Mike Matthews has his actual coming out party because he's not played at this point this weekend. I think he'll be healthy enough to play based off people I've spoken with, and I expect him to be a factor. But you're right. I think that you still want to get a few of these older guys a little bit of run, get them in, get them out, get them over there with their feet up, all those type of things to the point where when Brent Hubbs asked Bryson Easton or whoever on Monday, how you feeling? I didn't feel like I played Saturday. I think that's an important part of this game is getting them in and getting them out, but also keeping them a little bit crisp. But this is a game for all those young guys. This is a game for, the Idris Farouks and the Edwin Spillmans who's, trying to get healthy off that quad
Peyton
pull.
Lewis.
Nathan Laycock, Braylon Staley. Those players, you want to see them, keep doing their thing. And you also want, see some of those other guys that have played just a little bit, be able to, continue to build off what they've been doing early in the year in actual real rotation.
Well, listen, last week was a trap game for Kent State. Let's just be real honest with each other, right? It was a trap game. So that's what happened in that deal. No, listen, they're as bad of a team from a talent standpoint coming to Neyland Stadium that we've seen come into the stadium. They are. They're just.
They look pretty good in all these pictures, though.
Yeah, they do look good in the pictures.
They're probably worse than Chattanooga. Would you not say, Hubbard?
Yeah, I think.
100%, Rob. Yeah, I would say.
What we've seen to this point, I think that's absolutely the case. Which gets me to this question, and I think this is the challenge for Josh Heupel and his coaching staff this week in terms of decision making, right? How beat up we saw 3 offensive linemen limping and writhing in some pain. Cooper Mays was hurting coming to the sideline at one point. Lance Hurd had to walk around to try to get a little pain out of his knee, and we saw Spraggins limping around. Like, how do you manage those guys this week? How do you deal with that? Because you want to keep guys fresh. You got to protect your quarterback. What all does that look like? This is, I think, a hard week for this coaching staff. Because how do you motivate your team, and then how do you figure out how to manage it, Rob? Like, you don't – this is not like you set down all your starters and we're not going to play those guys. But how do you deal with this week? I think it's going to be really interesting to watch.
I don't know if Josh Heupel would go this way. And, Hubbard, I don't know if you agree with it. But, if anybody is not like 100%, like all full go, everything is clicking, I'm not playing them. Not with Oklahoma coming, because – if you win that game at Oklahoma, what are your chances for making the playoff?
Well, they're going up.
There's
going up.
Significant.
I'm almost pushing all my chips to the middle of the table, and not playing Lance Hurd or Andre Carrick or whoever against Kent State is the end all be all. But I'm siding on the side of I'm erring on the side of caution just because of what's at stake if you win the Oklahoma game. What's in front of you? I think it's hard to overstate.
I think the hard part is you need Nico to play.
Now that I agree with 100%.
But you're not. Do you really risk him out there? They put Larry Johnson out there blocking for him against Chattanooga, and next thing you know, defensive lineman's diving at his knees at the back end of that one play. It's what comes first, chicken or the egg?
It's a balancing act.
It's reps, but you want him to stay healthy, but you also want to get those guys rest. How do you balance it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a hard week. I think it's a hard week because, how do you motivate your team? And listen, I understand you can throw Eric, you can throw Northern Illinois out there, which is what Josh Heupel essentially did in his press conference on Monday when I asked him the question. He didn't mention Northern Illinois by name, but he noted, what that anything can happen in college football, and that's certainly the case. I think Northern Illinois was a 4-touchdown underdog. This one's going to be a 7-touchdown underdog team, or it's going to go off the board. I think when you look at it, what's the line, 48.5 or something like that?
It is. This morning it was 47.5 with the total at 62.5.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just hard. I mean, it's a harder sell to your kids. Nico talked about after the Chattanooga game, keeping your foot on their throat a little bit. And it's just, I think this is a challenging game because why would your thoughts not be on Oklahoma right now?
Yeah.
I mean, you could say all that you want to, right? I mean, it's and all those types of things, but how are you not putting your thoughts on the Oklahoma game on Tuesday of Kent State week?
It's easy to say you keep your foot on the throat, Eric, until you get out there and you realize you're shooting Bambi's mom.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about culture a moment ago, right? And that's why I think the leadership in that locker room and on that, and there's nothing that says that it won't be this way. I'm just saying. But like the Brew McCoys, the Amari Thomases, the Andre Turrentines, I mean, they need to say, hey, treat this week at practice, treat this game on Saturday like it's any other game. In the back of your mind, it's not just any other game, but you need that type of leadership, and I think Tennessee will get that.
I think they'll come out and have a little something to them, be ready to play. I think the question though is from the standpoint of how do you manage it? How many snaps are you going to give somebody?
Yeah,
and kind of where is that process at when you look at what's coming down the pike on the schedule?
Well, somebody said it earlier, like Cam Seldon, I wouldn't play him a snap against this game. I would let Deshaun Bishop run for over 100 yards. I'd let Peyton Lewis run for 100 yards. I wouldn't play Cam Seldon the snap. If it was me calling the plays, I'd couple series, score touchdowns, get him out. This team's not going to come back and beat you. So I don't know. I mean, I'm intrigued to see what it looks like. We can all agree on this, right? There's certainly some things that would give us kind of pause if Tennessee does poorly in a game like this going into Oklahoma, but there's nothing that Tennessee could show us in this game that gives us any more confidence in what the Vols can do against Oklahoma, right? I mean, the opponent is just not anywhere in the same stratosphere.
I mean, AP said it best, shooting Bambi's mom. That was a pretty good one. And plus, I mean, it's not a bad thing to play all those guys, the younger guys a ton with the SEC grind coming up. I mean, the gauntlet, you're going to go through it, and you're not going to have a chance. You don't play Kentucky until November 2nd. That's going to be the next time you have a chance to empty the bench and play some of these freshmen.
I mean, it is. I mean, it is one of the last times as you enter the gauntlet that you can, you got the 4-game rule, but this is a chance for some guys to go. I mean, I'd like to see Farouk a little bit more, wouldn't you guys? I mean, I'd like to see what that looks like. I think John Slaughter. I mean, there are some places on this field that those guys need as much work as you can get. Like you need John Slaughter to come on at safety. Or Farouk, because you're not deep enough there. The interesting balance is what do you do up front on offense? For me, I think that's the interesting balance because I think you could.
Oh, I think that's the question.
I think that's the question is because you want Nico to get work, but to do that you got to make sure you're protecting Nico. You don't want to put Nico out there, with a bunch of young guys and put some high risk there. But how much wear and tear do you want to put on your starters if any of them are banged up coming out of the NC State game? And maybe they're all healthy. They all finished the game. I mean, no, it wasn't like nobody didn't finish. But, I mean, John Campbell was in and out of the lineup the whole game. Spragans limped around pretty good. Cooper seemed fine, but he was hurting pretty good coming off after a drive. We saw Hurd back. I mean, what I'm saying? I think that is – I'm curious to see how they manage on Saturday.
Well, I think there's a difference in going straight twos and then having, which we're seeing this already, especially at tackle, as you just mentioned. I mean, Dane Davis and Jackson Lampley will play a ton, in my opinion, with the first team offense, because like John Campbell's going to have they're going to have to manage him all year long. Spraggins I thought he was going to come out of the game at one point in time, and then they called a timeout, and then he's jumping around, back on the field. So I bet Lampley and Dane Davis will play a whole lot. I don't know if William Satterwhite would get in there with the ones at center, but yeah, I'm like you. I'm intrigued to see what it'll look like. But
and we don't think Rodney's going to give anybody a break on Saturday, right? I mean, none of those guys got a day off in the scrimmage setting in the preseason.
Gave Pierce 10 snaps against UTC, though.
That's true. They did. So, and he'll manage. I mean, none of those guys are playing heavy snaps. They got so many of them. But this is get Jordan Ross a bunch of work, right, AP? Yeah. I mean, let's see what that looks like. Let's get him some more things out there. I think Caleb Herring needs a bunch of run to kind of continue to build him and get him going as well. So this is the opportunity, and you better take full advantage of it, because you don't have another one of these coming down the pike in the immediate horizon.